It is my pleasure to begin a bit of an update on the current situation in Haiti and about our work. And I'm going to do that with none other than Louino Robillard, who we all call Roby, who is truly one of the most inspiring people I have met in my life. I consider it, and I tell him this often, I consider it a tremendous luck that I get to work beside him every day and to see him in action and to learn from him and to kind of combine our forces to do what we do for others. Roby is Haitian. He is originally from Cité Soleil, which is one of the most marginalized areas of Haiti. And he is our partner organization, Rasin Devlopman's program director, the brains behind everything that takes place on Lago Nave. So without further ado, Roby, I really wanted to kind of start with the question that everybody asks these days, which is about the current situation in Haiti. And really the impact that that has had on you, on the staff, on the work that we do. What, if you can really, you're in Haiti right now, for those who don't know. You were just on Lago Nave for about a week. What is the environment like down there? What is the current situation? We know that obviously this year the country faced a presidential assassination, an earthquake, a general economic crisis, which currently right now involves a gas crisis, tremendous insecurity. I saw the other day a statistic that kidnappings are up 300%. I mean, things are extremely difficult. What is it? How are people talking about this? How do they feel about this? What about the staff? And how has that affected the work that we do?
Thank you, Chad. Hi, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be with you tonight. And thank you to be here. And it's a very, very important for us to have you here to support our work. So as you, most of the time you say, Chad, how you've been very proud of me, of my work in Haiti, but I will say much because not many Blancs that we know in Haiti understand that they can't change Haiti. I remember about 3 to 5 years ago when we met and you say, you know what, I love this country, but I know I can't change this country. I can participate, but I can't change it. And that really means something. And I think that is why we have Rasin Devlopman today, because before it was Roots of Development. You're trying to do your best in the island of Lago Nave, and you get in a point where you see, of course I can help, but it's supposed to be local. And for me, it's the transition to see where we are today and why it's important to do our work. Of course, people say, wow, it's Haiti again. And of course, in about a few months ago, the assassination of our president, and the earthquake hit the Great South, about 3 departments, Grand Sud, Grand Est, Okai, and Nip, and a lot of damage, economic crisis, and kidnapping happens every day in Haiti. So it's very tough. It's very tough, especially for people who are living in the West Department, in Port-au-Prince. It's really, really tough. And the problem is because of Port-au-Prince is so centralized the country, everything is in Port-au-Prince, and it's affected everywhere. Like today, the gas situation, there's no gas, not because there's no gas in the country, but it's the government can't assure the distribution of the gas in the gas station because of the gang. The gangs control all Port-au-Prince, all over Port-au-Prince where the gas are supposed to pass to get to the gas station. So it's very, very hard. So how that really affected our work? Of course, it's affected our work. because, and it's been very tough for us to, when we talk about gas, everything is about gas. Like all our volunteer pour changement, like the agent that we have in Laguna, in all the section, communal sections. So most of the time they take motorcycle to get to the Ansagale to come to our workshop. And we have our staff in Port-au-Prince, and some of our trainers, some of them come from Port-au-Prince. Like we were supposed to have a training with a Macalin Boussico, who is a big fan of our work in Laguna. But of course, Macalin, like Rasin Devlopman, he really want to go there. He said, if I will give anything to get there. But us in Rasin, the leaders can't come from all over to come to the workshop. So that was supposed to be our last workshop for the year. So I think one thing that we learned from that, I think this is why our work is very important. We can see it because we need new Haitian. We need to empower Haitian. We need good leaders. And I think Racine Works is contributing to really create good leaders in Haiti. And in the same time, it's why Racine is local. We imagine if we are not like local, like our staff were not living in Lago now, so we couldn't do our work. So I think this is really not a lesson for us in development, but it's for all the organizations who intervene in Haiti. So try to have more local staff, because when you can't make it, they will do the work. And it's strange to say, this year is very tough, but this year we achieve more this year. That's in development.
Yeah.
And I think this is why people have to keep supporting us to make impact and to create the kind of leaders that we want to see to change Haiti.
When I was reflecting on this year, Roby, obviously all of those national challenges, which had an impact on our work for all those reasons that you mentioned. I mean, just the other week, I know that staff had to end up taking a small flight, to get to the island in the country, within the country, had to fly to get out to the island in order to carry out the activities that it had already scheduled and set up and committed to and promised its partners and all that stuff. The team, some of them flying for the first time ever, because the road was not, you couldn't take the road out to where you usually catch the boat to go over to the island. I mean, those national challenges exist, but there was also things that happened to the organization more personally. It seems like forever ago, but it was this year that Racine lost its COO, Faradia Moise. It is also this year that a boat capsized off of Lagunav with brothers and sisters, Lagunavian brothers and sisters, dying in that accident. Tell us this is obviously what has been weighing on everybody and has been difficult for people to comprehend, and we're not sure where things are going to go, but we are on Lagunav and we're focused on the work there, and we're focused on improving quality of life. And luckily the philosophy and the approach we have, like you said, is local. It relies on local resources, on local leadership, which allows these activities to keep going despite these incredible challenges that exist. What are the successes? What are the achievements that Racine was able to make this year?
First thing you just mentioned about Faradia, she's not with us anymore, but she was a good person. Last year at this time, she was there with us, I remember. So Faradia and us, Racine Devlopman. So we were thinking how actually to involve more women in the work that we are doing in the island of Lagunav. So in the honor of Faradia, we started the year with identifying women like leadership, good leaders in Lagunav that people don't know their work, put them together and recognize them for their work. There were about 25 women. and the country. So they write about them in newsletter in Port-au-Prince, and even people in Laguna, some of them didn't know about their work. So that was the first thing that we did. And that was in March. But before that, because what we believe in Rasin, if we empower, if we train local leaders, when we say local leaders, we are talking about leaders in the communal section, like the local leaders, what we call the CBC. And we talk about the local authorities and the organization who intervene in the city of Laguna. We believe if we can put people together like that, we can make them sit together and design the future, something will be happen. And that's why we're still doing like training. We call them workshop. So workshop every 3 months with local leaders coming from all the communal section. They are about 30, come together and learn about new skills. It can be about leadership. It can be about local, let's say, collective leadership. It could be about entrepreneurship, how to work together. So when they came like for 3 days in the town of Ansagale. And after they left with the skills, and they back to the community with a little bit of resources. We show them how to mobilize the local resources in the local community. And they practice, they do something very concrete in the community with what they learn. So, and there were about 25 women. We started this year with them. And then about 30 other leaders in each communal section. And
may have internet issues. I don't know if it's just me or if everybody's experiencing that. I'll just add until Roby's back. Roby, Roby, we lost you for a sec. Could you actually share the 3? I know you've had 3 quarterly workshops with these agents of change from throughout the island that were identified and chosen through a process of their leadership in their communities and things like that. But the workshops focused on, I know you chose 3 very specific things and invited professionals in those subjects out from Port-au-Prince and from other areas of the country. They included civic engagement, I know was one. What were the others?
We got civic engagement, we got the collective leadership, and we got one we call show people how to identify the 17 objective of sustainable development. So this one was very important for us because we want them to know what is the objective of sustainable development for the world. And we help them identify what the sustainable objective for their community. And when they find that, so we help them with some resources. They choose one of them. Some of them choose like water and sanitation. Some of them go down in food and security, help community with gardening. And some of them go to wood construction because for them it's what they need right now to answer to a challenge in their community. So
for me personally, one of the neatest things to see from afar is that the program you created, right, that you built off of what we were doing before and expanded on that in order to include representatives from the various different communal sections across the island, is that you provide specific trainings and workshops to build leadership skills, to understand sustainability and community development. Then you take the theoretical and you turn it into the practical, allowing all of those different community leaders to choose with their communities specific priorities, which are wild. I mean, some of them are full-blown infrastructure projects. Like I have been down and visited and seen new roads paved, kilometers of roads paved by communities that have come together and tackled this stuff on their own. Water facilities, solar energy systems, providing power to a clinic, to a school. So they get the chance to actually practice those skills. You know, tell me, then I remember halfway through the year, you decided to test that idea of collective leadership, which was one of the subjects, and you changed things up a little bit, and you asked all of the agents of change to, instead of doing a project in each of their communities, but to work together to choose a single project as a collective, to, hash that out and do something that would be beneficial to the population of the island, but together as a collective. What was that project? What is that process? And what's the update on that?
Yeah. So what makes us different from other organizations? Because when we are talking about training, so like every other organization doing training. So what we discover is they train people, but they don't accompany people to actually, practice what they learn. So that's why after workshop, we help the communal section, the volunteer pour changement, design a project from the workshop, idea from the workshop to implement in their community. So as you say, so they were doing that in each section communal. Everyone do their project in their communal section. But one thing in Haiti, why we are still like that, it's because there is a lack of working together. What we call compete, for those who knows about compete. And what we did is we say people that, okay, that was the workshop about collective leadership. So we tell them, okay, you are not going to do a project for your own communal section, but there are about 6 communal sections plus the town of Ansagale, the 7 groups. So we all going to sit together and to fight together. I don't mind, you fight together and to find one project. And I don't mind where you find it, but a project that you all believe that going to make an impact and you're going to work on it together. So they spend like a month, they couldn't find the project. And it was normal. We knew that before. We knew it's going to be a challenge for them because they are not used to work together. And finally, they come with a project for the town of Ansagale, where there is a place they call Nansaline, which is that we have a very high on Nansaline, because we're afraid that if we are not doing something today, to find like a Cité Soleil in Ansagale, in Lagunav. And they anticipate to see there is not gang activities yet, it's not gang, but young people trying to take control of their community. And they are starting to fight together 2 blocks in a very, in Ansagale. So for them, there is a problem, a lack of communication problem. People don't know people, they don't play together. And they decided in the middle of the Nansaline to build like a little park. So that will allow people to meet, and that will allow like students to study. And for them, that can be an answer for the future, like to prevent the gang activities. So for us, it's a very smart project. And this is what they are doing right now. It's very exciting.
And that is a key piece. I think it's important for folks to know. Folks who know Roots of Development and Rasin know this about us, but for folks who may be, being introduced to us this evening, there are many organizations out there, there are many organizations out there that do various different types of projects, right? But what is so different and more fundamental about the approach and philosophy of the work that our organizations does is that it is deeper than that. It is about the sustainability of the leadership, taking ownership, developing skills locally to be able to do whatever those projects may be on their own, making them more durable, last longer, more easily replicable, all of those things. So it's deeper than just the projects that improve quality of life. It combines both, but it's about strengthening the very foundation that allows all of the rest of that to happen. And for me, one of the other things that you really led this year that was amazing to me, which again, just drove home how different Rasin is and our work is together, is that not only, the major objectives was to expand this network on the island, right, to include more leaders, to carry out more projects that are improving quality of life, but strengthening more and more leaders and showing people that development can be done locally, as opposed to waiting for somebody else to do that development for them. Not only did that happen, and diverse projects like we mentioned, we'd even mentioned some of the agricultural, the seed distribution and the community farming that was taking place, that was producing more local produce. But you also had these activities that came out of that, which happened easily at very little cost at times, because this was being driven locally. For example, Reagi, which are these weekly or monthly gatherings of the population. Whoever wants to come to the Rasin office space sits outside and tackles a subject that's interesting to the population, that can allow people to discuss and debate and learn and kind of hash out, that has an impact on their lives personally. And this thing that was created, that was not part of the plan, but that just rolled out of the nature of the development that we do. And of course, the motorcycle courses with young women on the island that just took on and went somewhere that we couldn't even expect. I mean, this was something that you saw an opportunity for. It came out of honoring those women back in March, where one of the women, I think, or two of the women got up and spoke about how they became what they've become, and perhaps why they were being honored that month. And one of them mentioned how they realized that it was men driving around the island. They've gotten a motorcycle. It gave them this independence. It created all these opportunities for them. And she said to herself, why can't I have that opportunity? And learned on her own, even though it was very unusual, to ride a motorcycle, led to being able to get from her community to other parts of the island, which led to a job, which now has her in a position that is just having influence across the island. And now we are inscribing, or now I'm forgetting the word in English, registering women on the island 15 at a time in sessions, teaching them how to ride motorcycles, to create jobs, to create opportunities where there aren't lots of opportunities. Transportation is one of those ones that exists no matter where you are, no matter what the circumstances are, and allows those women to play bigger roles in their families. I mean, this I saw firsthand when I was down there, what this means to these young women, the project. And this again was the creativity of Rasin, the creativity of saying, what are really the needs of the people that are around us, that, and how do we create something around that? And then of course, with our network, stepping up immediately, saying, we get it, let's support it, let's make it happen, repeating it. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we have to move on with the other part of the program. But that's such I think the kind of encapsulates this momentum that's taking place, that feeds into our objective that we share as two organizations, which is to help make Lago Nave a hub, an example and a hub of strong community-led development, where development can be led locally, successful, quality of life can be improved, and development can happen from the very folks that live there and the residents and the local population participating.
Yeah, community development, it's a process. It's a small thing, multiple small thing you put together for something. And it's a flexibility. And one thing that makes us do what we do, it's the kind of flexibility that we have to learn while we are doing our work. When something new come up and we see it can be fit in it, there is like good thing can happen behind it, and we just do it. As you mentioned with the Femme Cap Conduit, and we can translate it in women who driving. The concept women who's driving, normally when people think about like women empowerment, most of the time they put women and train them, and it's good. But sometimes you have to use your creativity, how to give them tools, empower them. Like when we discovered that motorcycle can be a tool to empower women in the island of Lago Nave, and we started the motorcycle course. And when we started that, more people get involved, and it's really something very, very empowered for the women. And we have a long list right now waiting for us, because if we have the 15 women, we choose another 15. And right now we have 15 going to be graduated on December. In April, we had 15 get certified from riding a motorcycle. And as you said, beside of that's going to increase the economical activities in the families and give them, but it mentally, it means something. And they're going to be ready to work with the organization. Most of the organization, they look for women to have a woman in the organization, and those women going to be ready for that. So for us, it's really a very important program. And one thing that we want to tell people, because this program is very successful, we have like local partners in Haiti. Like there is a motorcycle company named Orange who just give us 2 motorcycles because they want us to continue this program. So for us, it's a form that people recognize the importance of this work. And so it's a very, very important work. And as you mentioned that, there's more things that we are doing. Like when we talk about Tipalmis is the 4th section in Commune Sagale. They had like a local clinic. It can be only function during the day, but women come to give birth all the day, all the night. And when the volunteer pour changement came, they talk about it. We know what to do. We know they need a system of energy, but we won't go in to tell them what to do. We give them a space to talk about it and to find the local solution. When they find it, they think that a solar panel, a system solar panel can help them. And we share them like how they can raise funds in their community, and Rasin put with them, and we provide them a local system, a system for the local hospital. So for us, it's the kind of project that we are doing. It's very inspired, and you can start to see the impact that of those projects, which is very, very important.
And to put things into context for guests who are in attendance here and who are supporters of this work, the activities that we're talking about, there's 2 things I think that are important to drive home here. One is that the cost of providing another set of young women with these motorcycles courses is $2,500. I mean, that with Kathy's matching gift this evening of $5,000, I mean, we raised that with hers, combine that to, we raised $5,000 tonight. We get the complete $5,000 matching from Kathy. That's $10,000. That is 4 more courses for 15, 30, 60 young women on the island to gain this opportunity that can lead to employment, economic opportunity, stronger role in their families. I mean, it's incredible what can be done. And the other piece of this too is that because the majority of our funding comes from individual donors, like the folks who are on tonight, like the sponsors that give what they can, but in the same form, undesignated like they do, is this allows us to do the development that is that is different than a lot, the reality is that a lot of other organizations face when they have major constraints and major restrictions on how and what they use that funding for. When creative, unique opportunities pop up amongst these leaders around the island that you realize and recognize can really be leveraged to bring to something else, another opportunity and empowerment on the island, we have the ability to support those activities.